Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show on wearehotline.net. And on the line with us is an incredible woman. She is the author of Southern Men Don't Fall in Love series. Please welcome Maya May Lynne to the show. How you doing?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. Fabulous.
Awesome. And I have to say, you've got a really catchy name for a series of books.
Yes, I lived down south for a while in the metro Atlanta area. So at one time I was married to a guy that was from the South. And being in the South, the culture, the men, the manners, how they treat their women, it's not about class when you're down south. It's all about the manners and the connection. And so I really wanted to focus on the Southern gentlemen and how they treat their women and their families. So that's why and where I got the title, Southern Men Don't Fall in Love.
Okay. Now describe for us what that is. We're here in the North, in Toronto, Canada, receiving this information, and maybe some of us haven't had a taste of Southern hospitality. What is that like?
Well, Southern hospitality, especially with the gentlemen, it really is taught by the mothers and reinforced by the fathers. So one of the things that you'll notice when you're down south is gentlemen will open the doors for you. They will make sure, even get your car door. And, you know, when you're out and you're having dinner, there is no question about the check. They pick it up, and there's no other discussion. It's about how they interact with women as well. And sometimes that can be a little chauvinistic in their approach, but in other times it's very refreshing to be treated as a lady.
Well, I wouldn't mind a taste of that anytime soon. So that would be a very nice, refreshing kind of approach for me. What is it that inspired you to write the book?
Well, what happened was I was in an aerospace job, and I was there for about 14 years, and I had a lot of pressure. So I left the position, and I sat at home for a month, and I wrote a paragraph. By the time Christmas came, I had 8 books. It was just coming in, day and night, day and night, day and night. But I think I had the story in my head maybe over a period of years, but having that break to really sit down and let it flow onto paper really was a great experience. Just the characters telling you their story, and for me to record it, it has been such an honor. And I'm really excited about the first launch that launched November 4th of Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor.
Yeah.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. And I've got the second book coming up on April 26th. And with this series, I decided to release it twice a year on my son's birthday. So,
how old is your son now?
The oldest one, he is 24, and he actually translated the book to Spanish for me. And he also added a few of his friends helped him to do the editing. So he had a friend from Spain and a friend from Mexico, and they edited the version, the Spanish of the Americans version, and the European Spanish version. So I have 3 versions of the book out, and I also have a large print edition of the book.
That's fantastic. I think you're the only author I know who's expanded it in so many languages. That's amazing.
Yes, I'm real thankful to my son and his friends for pitching in and helping with that.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the main characters in your recent installment. Who can we follow? Who's going to grab our attention?
Well, Doug and Lisa are very opposite couples, but they find that they're very common. She's African American. He's Caucasian. He's very commitment phobic. He's the one that everybody wants. He's handsome. He's got a career. He's got cash. But he's very elusive. And for Lisa, she's very independent. She started her new career. She's coaches soccer. She's very active, and she doesn't necessarily view relationships or having a man, so to speak, as a top of her list. So what happens with them is that they come together in this story through a series of meetings, and they start to find out more and more about each other. So the main focus of this book is about the meeting, about the coincidences. It's about sheer fate, bringing a couple together.
Okay. So why did you choose an interracial couple?
Well, I chose an interracial couple to kind of enhance the opposite. And one of the things is, with this being the Southern Men Don't Fall in Love series, I'm further into the series, it'll get into the families and how the families feel. And it's kind of a fun way or a different way to address the interracial romance as well as some of the interracial problems of dealing with racism, not just in the South, but in other parts of the world as well. And to see how that couple handles it on their level. Now, in this first book, doesn't get much into it because of the fact it's about their meeting each other, and the circumstances that they meet under really doesn't allow for them to get into that discussion. Now, writing into the second book, it starts to develop more along their path as to how they feel about each other and how others view them together.
Okay. All right. Now, how do you want to capture your reading audience? What do you want them to learn when they go through your series?
Well, what I want them to learn is, first of all, about the Southern culture. And another thing I want them to learn is about how families get involved in our relationships. A lot of times you read a romance novel, and it's only about the two characters, and everybody else is blocked out. But our families and our friends have a lot of influence on the ones that we choose to even go out with or interact with on a friendship basis. And I want to explore those relationships as well as the relationship between the couple. So in my series, you will see a lot of family members who have opinions as well as coworkers and passerbys and all of that. All of those people play a role into developing who we are.
Okay.
And the same with my characters.
Let me ask you, did you have any challenges when you were writing this book?
Well, the initial phase of when I really wrote the big chunk of it was that it flowed right in. I mean, I was up 4 o'clock in the morning. They were in my ear, characters in my ear telling me, get up, write. And basically I just poured it out. The challenge for me came when, after I completed the books, I had a series of events that happened in early 2009 where I lost my dad, I was getting divorced, unemployed. I mean, it just kind of rolled downhill, so I had to put it away for a while until I could handle the life challenges that were thrown at me. So now that I've had a chance to pick it back up, I had to go into the business side, which is, into the editing, into the getting ISBN numbers, setting up my own business. So that was a challenge, a learning challenge in itself. And the writing part just came back. You know, I picked up where I left off. Contributors came in to assist. I have a woman that's been helping me with the editing and broadening my ideas. I also am really, really excited because I think for my second book, it was going to be only one book, but the ideas that she's helped me with is going to make it 2 books. So I'm really working hard to get out there and give it some depth, so a little more depth into the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about why you decided to self-publish?
Well, the main reason why I decided to self-publish was that I didn't want anybody else to be in control of my dream. Mm-hmm. When you go into traditional publishing, it's almost like a beauty contest. Well, are they going to like me? Are they not going to like me? When you go into self-publishing and you are in control of your destiny, then deadlines. You have the time to write. You have the time to say, hey, if I want to wait a year to publish, you can. You own your own rights to your own work, and you're much freer to be able to start your dream. It's a lot of work, and if you're really passionate about something you believe in, you'll do the work, and that's why I believe that self-publishing was the right thing for me to do.
Okay. What about book piracy? How do you prevent, yourself from being in that situation?
Well, it was one of the things that I didn't anticipate. I had started, when I first launched my book, Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor, the sales were pretty good, for me being unknown. Then all of a sudden they dropped off, and I had no idea what was going on. So what I did was I basically Googled or Binged my book and saw that there were free downloads out there for it. And I started to try to read up on the Internet and see, well, what do you do with it? Well, it's kind of difficult to catch the pirates. I mean, you can write their websites, you can request that they're taken down, but a lot of times all it takes is an email and an account, and you're back in business with a book pirate. So one of the things that I tried to do was kind of spin it with some advertising, saying that, okay, well, if they're stealing it, it must have some value somewhere. So I addressed it on my site. I outreached and tried to make some more appearances. So I've got some book signings coming up. I'm appearing at other places. So I'm trying to make it a positive versus a negative, and I'm not sure where to go else on the piracy issue because I want to write. I don't want to chase pirates. I want to write. I want people to get to know my characters. I have a lot of things on the horizon that I'd like to take that walk and keep going forward.
Okay, great. So why did you choose a pen name?
Well, I chose a pen name. Part of it's because of a certain level of privacy. And also, when you write as a writer, sometimes you may want to switch genres. So if I go down a romance series and people know me as a romance writer, if I switch and I want to do something else, then then you're able to kind of launch a lot more projects. And a little bit of a privacy issue. Sometimes we as people, individuals, will tackle things differently if we're under a pseudonym. We may give it a little more freedom, so to speak, if we're writing as somebody else than if we're writing as ourselves. And it keeps your lives a little bit separate.
Understood. Do you think it's a little bit more of a difficulty for Black authors to be recognized?
I think it's difficult to be recognized, period. I think that unless you really have the know or the inside track to how certain things work, if you're invited to the table, so to speak, I think like even in Hollywood you have certain actors with name recognition and certain actors that just don't. No matter how many roles they pick up or try, they just don't have the recognition. And kind of the same here. I think for us as Black authors that we first of all need to come together when we can on projects or even services like editing services, like different venues and support each other. but we also take risks. Sometimes we just won't take the risk to self-publish or to, work with others in a group. So we have to be our own risk takers, and we have to be our own voice.
Very true, very true. What do you think makes your book stand out from others?
I think for me, because I've tackled a specific area of the country, maybe an area of the country that maybe certain people don't know or have, a little bit of knowledge about. I've tried to bring in just a different approach of the male-female relationship. But with this being my first book, I don't know that my audience will necessarily get the feel until some more of my books are released to say, oh, okay, I think I see where she's going, or I see some of the same things. Like, you're going to see yes, ma'am, and no, sir. That's just very Southern. I mean, even little children are yes, ma'am, and no, sir, as far as I've seen a mother discipline her son and say, no, sir, you will not have that. It's just a natural part of that culture. So that's one of the things that I wanted to bring out, that unless you're writing in that region, you won't bring it out the same way as in other parts of the country.
All right. Well, so what's next for you?
What's next is Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 2. So that one's coming April 26th. I'm working very hard to give it the bulk, all of the background that it needs to kind of tie in and expand from book one. Because once you go through book one, you will have met these characters, and you will want to know, well, what do they do now that they've met? And this is where book two really focuses on what they do after their meeting and how they connect with each other. And that's where book two heads into. And then there will be a book three. So I don't want to give too much away, but book two does go beyond what happens in book one.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sure the listeners are very interested in knowing how to connect with you and where to purchase the books.
Well, the books are on Amazon, and I also have on my website a way to get the books. It's www.Lynne.com.
Fantastic.
And I'm also on Facebook, so Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor is on Facebook. Mia May Lynne Ryder is on Facebook. And Book and Spirit LLC is my company name, and it's on Facebook as well.
Wonderful. Well, we've enjoyed listening to you, Mia May, and congratulations on your book releases. We're looking forward to your next book in April. And thank you so much for being on the line with us. You've been listening to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show with very special guest author Mia May Lynne, and she just shared with us some of the inspirations for her series of books, Southern Men Don't Fall in Love, and we're really looking forward to picking up a copy. I have a copy in my possession, and I can tell you it's a hot read, so you want to get in touch with Mia May and definitely go to her links to know more about her and the books that she has in this series. So I just want to wish you a wonderful night, and thank you very much for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. You have a good night.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.